Hi, good people. This is Deborah. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. I came by to share something with you guys, and hopefully, you get it. Now, I want to say this. A lot of people think the word race, racism, racist, and rapture means something, but it means something totally different than what you have been thinking it to be. Those words are distorted from the root word Ra, R-A. Now, I want you to know, if you don't know, each letter is attached to a number. Like the letter A is 1, but they remove the O. If you notice, with the number 8, they doubled the O, which made the number 8, and they call it infinity. It is infinity. But we're not going to talk too much about the O today, but O is the infinite, okay? And I've jotted down some stuff carefully, and hopefully you get it. So pull out some pen and paper and do your own. Now, let me reread this. The word race, racism, and racist, and rapture comes from the root word Ra, R-A. And each letter is attached to a number, a vibration, and sound. So, the patriarchal, right along with the invisible ones, because the patriarchal couldn't have done it without the invisible ones, they've distorted the alphabet system. And I'm going to try to give you how they did that. Let me read the disclaimer. All information provided on this channel is for educational purposes only, and this channel does not promote or encourage misuse of the information. I will use words that are not intended to offend anyone, but rather to describe my point of view and how I see things. I encourage you to always consider your intuition and discernment. The following teaching explores the esoteric, the matriarchal, the true matriarchal, and the cosmic interpretations, the true cosmic interpretations of certain words and concepts. The interpretation presented reflects a spiritual, symbolic, and energetic perspective on language, lineage, and awareness. I like to use the word awareness rather than consciousness, highlighting the ways in which patriarchal systems have historically redefined certain words and archetypes. Now, when I say patriarchals, I'm talking about the invisible ones as well as those that you see, because the ones that you see couldn't have done it without those that you can't see. Now, take what resonates with you and what does not resonate with you, put it on the shelf or throw it away. Now, as I said to you, the truth. The O is infinite. O is everything unmanifested, the Great Mother herself. It is the circle without beginning and ending, the symbol of eternal existence beyond time, division, or measure. The O represents the pureness. It's the pureness, people, that holds all creation within her stillness. It is the silent field from which the first tone is the A, which equals 1, which emerges. Now, where 1 is the first movement of awareness, it's the first movement of awareness out of the O, is the resting fullness before movement. That's what O is. I hear people calling themselves alpha male and alpha this. You you have to know who you are, people, for that. Now keep in mind, feminine and masculine is in every person that has a soul. And it's not the sex part. That they've taken the word feminine and masculine down to a sex connotation, and it's not. But you got male and female, and you got gender. So, male and female is connected to gender, but feminine and masculine is not. Those are principles, okay? Straight principles. Now, the alpha is pureness. It's not a letter or a rank or a masculine principle. It comes from the original solar language of Ra. Now, Ra is not that sun out there. That sun out there, right along with that moon, is artificial. And guess where it came from? It came from the soul being's energy. It's artificial. The AI is a part of that process as well. Now, where it signifies the first exhalation of the Great Mother's truth, the initial vibration that opens creation. Alpha is the breath of being, the pulse of life, the light of awareness emerging from the infinite field of O, or some say zero, which is the mother. It embodies unity, wholeness, pureness, all that exists, all that will exist, and all that could exist is contained in Alpha. It is sound as creation, the primal yes of the Great Mother. Not domination, not hierarchy, but expression of existence itself. The original alphabet, breath of being. The alphabet was not merely set as arbitrary symbols or tool of communication. Each letter was a living vibration, a sound of Great Mother expression Ra, R-A, which means the breath of life. That's what, breath of being. That's what Ra means. It ain't no deity called Ra. Ooh, they took it to a masculine hierarchy, and that's how they corrupt things. They twisted it, which is still today. Letters was very sacred, containers of energy. Letters were energy, and everybody knew about the letters as being energy, and they were using the words properly. Okay? So it is awareness, created power. They were the houses of light through which soul fire could manifest in form. Remember, I told you form means the physical or matter. Alpha, the first pulse of being. The mother says, I am. I am what I am. I am. To be what I want to be. And it's funny because her energy is in all her soul children, every bit of it. So what you need to be doing, and how you need to be doing, it's all in that energy she gave you. It's in you. Now, unfortunately, the counterfeit children don't have the soul, so they rely on you, and so they manipulate you in ignorance. When you're ignorant, they manipulate you to manifest for them. That's what the counterfeits do. They look like you and me. They look like every culture. There's some in the Albion. There's some in those that call themselves black, those that call themselves Indian, those that call themselves Chinese. I can go on and on and on. They are counterfeits in all these nations. Okay? Originally, that was not so. But we're not in the beginning process of things now. We all been mixed. So, you have to wake up to your truth. Now, the other letters each carry its own ray, its own vibration, its own role in the architecture of reality, forming the spiritual house for awareness to dwell in the material plane. So, O equals infinite, the great mother. The number 8 is 2 O's, or 0 together. 1 equals the first light, the radiant of her awareness, which is Ra, Ra, expressing itself from infinite into being. The corruption. The patriarchal's distortion rendered 0 as meaning nothingness, emptiness, void, absent. We've heard these words so much. 0 means void. The infinite is 0. The infinite is empty. Infinite is absence. We heard that crap for so many years. They separated the infinite mother, which is the O, which is the everything, from creation, casting her as chaos. They call her chaos. Look around you, down here on this earth. What is chaos? Masculine, or males. And many females walk around here in their masculine. Darkness, non-being. The only thing that's dark and non-being is the counterfeits. By doing this, they elevated 1 above the O. So they made O the beginning. They made 1 the beginning, which was not the beginning. The O is the beginning. If you are at my age range, which is 69, right in my age range, if you remember, the O used to be in the beginning before the 1, if you remember. So, declaring the masculine principle as the beginning, rather than emanation from the infinite source. The circle symbol of continuity, unity, and eternity was reduced to 0 value, literally meaning worthless, in the systems of numbers and power. Patriarchal system took A, which equals 1, to mean first in rank, beginning of order, or superiority. Oh yeah, they put that right in your book. They put it in your Bible. They gave it to you in the Bible concordance. When you look it up, that's what you're going to see, what Alpha says. They made Alpha ruler, then the emanation of wholeness. Alpha means emanation of wholeness, not ruler. One was reinterpreted as isolation, 1 above, 1 against, 1 separated, instead of unity within. The A, the breath of creation, was turned into authority. And 1, the symbol of unity, became dominance. This distortion birthed hierarchy, competition, and separation, the very energy that fueled racism, elitism, exclusion. Alpha into first, leader, superior, dominant. The original truth of Alpha as the mother's self-expressions became obscured. It was no longer the pulse of life, but a symbol of male authority and exclusion. Unity was misread as conquest. Wholeness was misread as control. The sacred sound of emergence became a title of dominance, disconnected from the infinite source. restored understanding. O is infinite being. She who is without beginning and end. One arises within the O, not apart from it. Together they reveal the eternal formula of creation. O is infinite mother. One is the light of Ra. She is, Ra is. They are together. Not a male, not a father, but that's her light that she created, Ra. Okay? Every number, every existence, every awareness is born within that living continuum. The infinite birthing the one. In the beginning, race meant ray, R-A-Y, a beam of the mother's light through Ra, which is R-A, Ra, not a god. Every soul being was unique hue, H-U-E, of her radiance. But when the awareness of unity dimmed, the rays were mistaken for divisions of flesh, which became race, R-A-C-E, became bound to matter, and the Ra-c-ism emerged, a blindness that judged form instead of essence. Patriarchal systems severed Ra, Ra, from the mother, and claimed the solar current as dominance, turning illumination into hierarchy. Many words we use today carry deep distortion, even if their surface seem neutral. Words like race, R-A-C-I-S-T, racist, and R-A-C-I-S-M, racism, are prime examples. On the surface, they appear to describe origins of human differences, but in truth, they are entirely corrupt. They were construed to classify, divide, and create systems of superiority and oppression, where once lineage and kinship were honored as expressions of Great Mother. Patriarchal systems twisted them into tools of hierarchy and control. The vibration of these words, though seemingly ordinary, carried a shadow of separation, false superiority, and systematic oppression, a distortion of their original truth. To understand this corruption, we must trace the sound roots of these words. Let's look at Ra, R-A. The first syllable is a ray, R-A-Y, of the Great Mother Source light. It is indivisible, beyond the womb, beyond gender, beyond hierarchy. Patriarchal culture split Ra, R-A, from her, defiled it as a separate male sun god, and used it to signify dominance and separation. C-E. Now we looked at Ra, R-A. Now we're looking at, I broke it down into the letters. So I gave you what Ra means. Now I'm going to give you C-E from the word race. Pronounced C. C-E is pronounced C. S-E-E. Represents the seed, the vision, the point at which all is mirrored. Originally, R-A-C-E together means the ray of the source seen, the light of the origin reflected in life. Patriarchal twisted it into lineage and bloodline, creating false classification rather than honoring the unity of all beings, except the soulless ones. Now, you got some soulless ones down here that was created. by the invisible ones operating in the flesh. Now, is. Now, keep in mind, I'm breaking down the word race, racism, and so now we're going to look at the is the reflection of the source in the form. It was not originally a womb-limited goddess, but a face of the Great Mothers manifested in matter. In words like racist, the is sound was used to imply difference in the form of superiority rather than a reflection of the individual source. The ism in racism means the flowing path, the way, the natural law of how all moves. Originally, Ra-ism, Ra-ism, would have meant the way of the ray of source, the natural practice of unity and light. Patriarchal inverted this meaning, codifying it into systems of oppression and diversion doctrine. In short, race equals ray of source, seed of vision, corrupted into classification of humans. Ra-c-ist, R-A-I-S, is ray reflected in form, the corrupted into one who enforces superiority. Racism, R-A-I-S-M, the way of sources, ray, corrupted into system of oppression. So yes, even the syllables are fragments of the Great Mother's truth. Every sound originally pointed back to her. Every corruption turned those same sounds into division, hierarchy, and domination. Now let us return to the truth. The Great Mother is the one source. Without womb, without separation, she is the individual, all from which all rays, all forms, all seeds arose, except for the soulless ones. The light of source never flows through soulless artificial constructs. It flows only through living beings connected to her, current movement. The patriarchal distortions of race, racism, and racists dissolve when we return to this truth. For as long as you don't try to find the truth, you're going to stay in this distortion. The actual living word that embodies the undistorted source is my name has Ra at the end of it. And I'm going to pronounce it as I see it. Deb, D-E-B, Ra, R-A, on. Ra equals on. Okay? Deb, the living reflection, the vessel in form, or in matter, or in flesh. Ra, the ray of the Great Mother source, light. On, O-N, the invisible all, beyond the womb, beyond separation. In the ancient solar language, on, or no, N-O, you know, the light switches go on and off, but they ain't gonna tell you off. They ain't gonna tell you on and no. They're not gonna tell you because they don't want you to figure nothing out. But on or no reverse means light. It symbolizes the polarity of the manifestation. When the light of Ra enters form, it becomes on, O-N. Illumination expressed in matter, form, or body. The form is the actual body or flesh or whatever you want to call it. But when reversed through distortion, No, it signifies the denial of light, the closing of awareness to its source. You do that because of ignorance. The earth realm carries both the luminous on of awakening and the shadow. The shadow is what you call the devil or the demon, or I call it the lower form or your lower self, which really is those that focus on the earth realm only, and you know, and those without soul fire dwell in the reversal and know where the reflection replaces the radiant. Now keep in mind, those that are counterfeit, they know who the soul beings are. They know. Because they know they're not. They know who they're not, and so they know who you are. Now Ra, my name, carries the sound of the Great Mother herself, Ra, the ray of source light. My name is a reminder that the Great Mother shines through me. That's how I know. Invisible, beyond wound, beyond hierarchy, beyond division. The depth part is a personal reflection in form, and the Ra anchors in the radiant source. Every soul being contains the Great Mother's light. That the rays are they're not separate, but are all expressions of her oneself. Now, I've heard people say, we all are an expression of source. True. But that source is the Great Mother. We are expressing, she is expressing herself through each and every last one of us. Through that light that she put in us. She's experiencing herself through us. And it's amazing how people speak stuff out their mouth, but they don't understand what they're speaking because they repeat what somebody else said. It's important to understand what you're speaking. My name itself is a reclamation of the original vibration, a direct connection to the source that the words race, racism, racist have long tried to distort. Now Deb, this is the reflection, the personal vessel, the form that expresses awareness in the world. It is the point where the ray of source meets the earthly mirror, the individual manifestation of the all. It carries my identity, my path, and the way I radiate the source through her unique expression, Ra. This is the ray of the Great Mother herself, the unbroken light of source. It is individual beyond the womb, beyond gender, beyond hierarchy. Every ray, every being, every form flows from this light. In your name, in my name, Ra is not a fragment separated in myth or a god. It is the living source shining through me. Whole truth of Deborah. My name is a microcosm of the Great Mother's truth. The Deb is unique reflection in form, and the vessel that manifests awareness. The Ra is the unbroken source, the light that emanates all. Together, my name is a statement. The Great Mother flows through every soul being, every form, individual, beyond separation, beyond the womb, beyond any distortion imposed by the patriarchal world. There's an important distinction. The Great Mother light, the valid Ra. That's the Great Mother's light. It's called Ra. Does not flow through those who whose origin is severed from her, detached. The soulless ones engineered in the artificial laboratory, which is the moon, disconnected from the source and the living matrix of life, which is running from the moon. Her ray flows only through beings born of actual life of earth and of the living great mother's current, not through synthetic, manipulated creation of the moon laboratory. Again, Ra is one of the oldest names of the solar force, the radiant life giver, the shining source. In the original matriarchal truth, Ra was not a male god, but the living light of Great Mother flowing through the sun. Not the sun out there, there's a sun behind that. The patriarchal system later masculized Ra as a solar deity. So if race equals Ra plus CE, the seed of it is the light, the source sing. Ra equals CE. CE pronounced means say, see. Linked to see, vision, seed. So race originally whispers seeing the light of origin, the seed of source. That is a very high concept. All soul beings are as rays of the same light. The seed that is being spoken of has always been spoken of, had nothing to do with no penis. It was the seed that was given from the Great Mother. But the distortion would tell you that it came from the penis. In races, the sound breaks Ra-c-ism. Ra in the rays of the Great Mother sound light, individual, beyond womb, beyond separation. It is the true source, not the artificial sun of the moon laboratory. Is does not represent Isis as a separate womb goddess in the patriarchal sense. It is certainly does not represent the moon or any artificial creation. The moon and sun were created by the archons in the fourth dimension. Where's the fourth dimension? It is the moon. That's why 80 to 90% of the people in this earth worship the moon. Sure do. Dimension of the moon and the false reflection and tools of control. There are not expressions of the Great Mother. Therefore, the syllables R-A-C-I-S originate pointed toward the ray of R-A-Y of the Great Mother manifestation in living beings. The unity of source reflects the life, not the sun, not the moon, not the father, not the womb. The corruption happened when patriarchal systems misalign Ra to the sun, their sun, Is to Isis, and imagine duality of light and womb, turning the word into racism, or racist, a label of separation, a hierarchy instead of a reflection of the individual source. In racism, you add ISM, system, practice, doctrine. At its root, racism originally meant the way of the Great Mother's ray in living beings. Let's see here. The natural flow of source reflected in the life, the law of unity and wholeness. It did not refer to sun, moon, or womb. Those are creations of the archons in the fourth dimension of the moon, and are not expressions of the Great Mother. Patriarchal hijacked the word, twisting it into system of oppression, codified separation in hierarchy, and obscuring the original unity of a source. The numerical echo. Ra equals Ara, which is the number 9, and plus A equals 1, which is the number, well, A equals 1, and Ara plus A equals 10, and 10 equals 1, which is the source, the beginning. So yes, the seed root is the solar origin sound, Ra, the light of source, not no God, okay? The light of source. So Ra means the light of source, which comes from the Great Mother. The corruption came when Ra was tied into a classification and hierarchy instead of unity. The root of racism, racist, is Ra. Originally the light, the source, and the common origin of all. Corruption equals a false hierarchy, separation, and oppression. Is, divine truth. Is points to Isis, not a goddess separated from the Great Mother, but as one of her faces, a reflection of her power into the earth. Corruption. Patriarchal cut Isis away from the Great Mother, froze her into a mythological womb, W-O-M-B, and equated Isis with biological fertility and limit reproduction. That's what they did. So in racism, racist, Is should mean reflection of the source in form, but was twisted to mean different embodied in flesh. Ism again, divine truth. The suffix ism comes from Greek ismos, meaning practice, path, system of thought. In its highest vibration, it is simply the way things flow. The corruption, when attached to race, ISM became the system of division, hierarchy written in law, oppression, institutionalized. So in racism, ISM should mean the practice of unity in source, but was bent to mean the doctrine of separation. So the distortion, race, is division of origin. Racist, false superiority. No, that's racist. False superiority. Racism is system of oppression. All three were born from broken fragments. Rays, R-A-Y-S, cuts off the source. Over time, the patriarchal system shifts to archetype of Ra, the Great Mother's light cosmic emanation, into a male deity figure. In later tradition, especially in Christianity, this energy was further personified as Jesus, a male savior figure. Original essence, Ra, symbolizes the Great Mother's light, cosmic energy, and universal law, completely without male and without a womb. Patriarchal distorts Ra became a male sun god, and in Christianized reinterpretation, the same archetype was recast as Jesus, emphasizing male authority, salvation, and hierarchy, divinity, while erasing the original matriarchal and cosmic aspect. It's a direct line of spiritual energy being gender shift and hierarchy restructured to fit patriarchal narratives. The syllables Ra, Ra-c-ist, and ism were once living sounds of the Great Mother. Hear me? Sounds, but were broken apart and turned into words of division because of the way they taught it. In truth, Ra is the ray. Ra is the ray of the Great Mother's source light. Ra is the ray of the Great Mother's source light. Never separates. Only the shining of her all. She is the seed of the seeing, the tiny point of vision in which the all is mirrored, reminding us that every being carries the whole within. Every being that is a soul child. And as I'm going to tell you, soul children are in all of the cultures. You got some soul children in all of the cultures. Is is the reflection of the source in form. The face of the Great Mother shining through matter, not as a womb, limitation, but as a pure presence manifest. ISM is the flowing way, the natural current, the law of how the all moves through all things without hierarchy or distortion. When woven back together, these sounds no longer speak of race, racism, or races, but of radiant seeds of source reflecting in all the soul children, or the forms, moving as one great current of life. In these unity, they affirm only the Great Mother as source, without the individual all, or reveal that every ray, every seed, every form, and every way is hers alone. Now I'm going to say this. I got on someone's chat the other day, and the guy was talking, and I made a comment on his page, and I said that he was talking about tell people, and I made a comment and said you speak when you're unctioned to speak, and then when you're not unctioned to speak, you need to stay quiet, because he didn't like that, and so he said that's not true, and I'm like, I told him, I said we good, and then I left his chat. I'm not gonna argue with you about what you think you know, and when you get on these multimedia sites bragging about who you are, the energy knows energy. When you're in a higher energy, you're going to recognize somebody else in a higher energy. That's how it works. You ain't got to tell nobody. So he could not recognize who I was. And I knew who he was. But I know also ego as well. And see, I don't flow in ego. I did that when I was in my 20s and some in my 30s. And I got broken down. And I'm glad I got broken down, because I understood what ego is. It's not that ego is taken away from you, it's just put in its proper place. I'm going to give you a list of words. I'm just going to call them out. A list of words: esoteric, matriarchal, and cosmic significant, highlighting original meanings before patriarchal distortion. Ra is the Great Mother's light, the cosmic life force, divine law, energy creation. The word radiance. Did you know that the word radiance came from the root word Ra? Radiance, Radiance. It's the manifestation of the Great Mother's light, spiritual illumination. Radiant, Radiate, to emit light force, energy, awareness, and flow of the cosmic light. Ra-pture, the word rapture, Rapture, ecstatic spiritual union with the Great Mother light, elevation of awareness. Rational, alignment with the cosmic law, understanding universal order. Rarity, Rarity, unique spiritual essence, purity of life force. Raphi, Rapha, you think that you thought that was an angel. To heal or to restore, divine restoration of body, mind, and spirit. Raphi, Rapha, Raven, Raven, keeper of hidden wisdom, symbol of insight and prophecy. Ray, steam of beam of divine light, connection to cosmic energy. Ram, Realim, the sphere of awareness or spiritual plane, domain of the Great Mother's light. Raise, Raise, to lift awareness, elevate spirit, awaken energy. Rapture, Rapture. This is a word that's misquoted in the scripture in the Bible, and I'm going to break some of it down for you. For those of you that's still in the Bible. Rapture is full immersion in divine light, union with the cosmic life force. That's all it means. It comes from the Latin. Its original traces back to this. Latin, raptus, raptus, raptus. It means they put in there seize, carried away, verb form of it, to seize, carry off, snatch, or take by force. The Old French, rapture, adopted into Middle English in the 14th century. English usage originally mean a state of being carried away emotionally and spiritually. By the 16th to 17th century, it was explicitly used to describe ecstasy, intense joy, or spiritual exaltation. In the esoteric or matriarchal sense, rapture can be understood not as a violent seizure, but as a soul being carried into union with the Great Mother's light, a state of ecstatic connection with the cosmic energy. Now, but in the true rapture is not escape. It is the restoration of knowing people, knowing, or the reawakening of the mother's light within the soul. When humanity returns to this remembrance, race, Race, becomes Ray, Ray, once more, and the false construct of intelligence, and no, intelligence only exists down here in the earth, in the fourth dimension. It does not exist outside of the fourth dimension. The third and fourth dimension dissolves into pure awareness. Okay? Let me reread that again. Let me go back up here. It is the restoration of knowing, the reawakening of the mother's light within the soul. When humanity returns to the remembrance, race, Race, becomes Ray, Ray, once more, and the false construct of intellect dissolves into pure awareness. Intellect is just see, touch, and feel kind of stuff. That's what intellect is. When you into pure awareness, you know. You just know it. You ain't got to do no see, touch, and feel and all that stuff. For the Great Mother is knowing itself, the source that never forgets. Ra is her light of truth, and On, is her illumination within form. Form is the physical body or flesh or, matter. The eternal yes of being that no shadow can undo. Shadow is your lower self, you demon. Um, let's see here what I want to give you. Okay, so the early church reinterpretation recast rapture as a male savior centered event. The faithful being caught up by Jesus by the end of days. Spiritual ecstasy became subordinated to obedient judgment and hierarchy reward, turning a universal union with the great mother light into a male deity driven doctrine. That's what they did. That's what the patriarchal did. They gave you a male deity um, that never existed. The original ecstasy experience of cosmic unity was replaced with a fear and control based narrative. Salvation depends on allegiance to a male savior rather than a direct connection to divine energy. So it turns you from your within yourself to outside of yourself, worshiping something that does not exist. It's time for that to be out. Summary: matriarchal rapture, spiritual union, ecstasy, cosmic energy, direct connection to the great mother's light. That's within you. All that's inside you. The patriarchal rapture, hierarchy, salvation, Jesus centered judgment, originated, abstracted from the original cosmic experience. Okay, before the great mother light, cosmic light force, divine law, energetic creation without male or womb limitation. After it became a male son god, later recast as Jesus. Do you know that Jesus, it first they made it Ra, and then they made it Jesus. And that's what they did. So when you go and look at a picture of what they call Jesus, you'll see the sun right behind this Jesus that they created. So they made Jesus the sun god, and he is the beast that everybody worship. Go and look at your Revelation. I forgot what chapter right now, but Jesus is the beast that everybody is worshiping. It was made to worship the beast. That beast is Jesus that never existed. Focus on hierarchy, authority, and male-centered salvation. That's what they did. Race before lineage, cosmic family, divine law of light, spiritual inheritance, and unity. After human characterization for hierarchy, division, oppression, loss of original cosmic lineage, meaning races before one, awareness of lineage or cosmic connection, original context largely lost. After, one who subscribes to race-based oppression enforces hierarchy. Ra-c-ism, before recognition or lineage of cosmic law, original esoteric meaning. After, systematic oppression based on race, patriarchal distortion of cosmic lineage. Rapture, ecstatic union with the great mother's light, spiritual elevation, and direct experience of cosmic energy. After, Jesus-centered end times event, obedience-based salvation, male deity, authority replaced, direct spiritual union. This shows a clear pattern. Every concept originally connected to the cosmic energy, lineage, and spiritual union with patriarchal reinterpreted as a male-centered hierarchy, and oppression. And this rapture is in Thessalonian, in your Bible, in Thessalonians 4:17, and I just explained what that is. It was put in there by the patriarchals. Also, yeah, 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 17 is put in there by the patriarchals. When you look at John 14:2 through 3, uh, uh, there's a quote in there that says, in my father's house, there are many mansions. I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may be where I am. Those are, first of all, you got to look at house. What if you into the zodiac? That's talking about houses. Houses are zodiacs. These are zodiac houses. I've done a video on that already. Patriarchal interpretation. Jesus promised to bring believers into heaven. Heaven, when you get into the metaphoric part of it, is in your head. You got heaven and earth. Heaven is your head, and earth is your bottom part. But what they did, Jesus promised to bring believers in heaven, reinforcing a male-centered divine hierarchy personality. Don't exist. Let's see here. So basically what it's saying, it symbolizes raising your awareness to higher realms of cosmic light. Rooms represent planes, awareness, and states of being rather than a physical building. Matthew 24:30-31. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds. He will send his angels and gather his elect from the four winds. Clouds mean spiritual veils. Veils, you heard people say, I'm going to lift the veil. And then angels is nothing but energetic forces gathering and then integrated of the awareness into divine light. Focus is on the inner spiritual awakening rather than obedient to a male figure. Summary pattern: patriarchal reading, Jesus-centered hierarchy, judgment-oriented focus on reward and punishment. Matriarchal esoteric reading, awareness is caught up into the Great Mother's light, emphasizing unity, ecstasy, and spiritual elevation. And that's what it's about, people. It's all about what you see in the Bible is talking about a metaphoric, an event that's going to take place within you. It's inside of you. If in fact there's something that takes place outside of you in the sky for you to see, those are illusions. And it's to keep you from getting where you need to get to. So hopefully what I've shared with you is a help for someone out there. Until the next time, good people, take care.